Hey everyone, Dave here. So, I very seldom do these kinds of reviews, but ever so often I come across something that I feel needs to be reviewed for the sake of anybody who is surfing through YouTube and manages to find my review and tries to figure out whether or not they should make a certain purchase on something that is a piece of tech, something that is a humongous investment because it costs a little over $100, and everything beyond that point you're like, okay, I need to consult reviews to figure out whether or not I'm making the right decision purchasing that piece of technology. And so I feel kind of obligated to bring this review after tampering with this particular device myself. Now if you hear a little bit of a rumbling in the background, it's because my air conditioning is on, and normally I would have it turned off, but honest to God, it's so hot today. Today's probably the hottest day we've come across here in SoCal the entire summer, because the summer's been kind of crazy. It's been kind of chilly actually in some instances. There's been weeks where it would either rain or it would get kind of chilly and I would actually have to wear a jacket or a sweater, especially at nighttime. But today has been so hot that I'm actually going to just leave it on. So, oh well, that's just how it rolls, and I really don't want to look all glossy with sweat coming out of my pits during my review. No, that's very unattractive. So anyways, here I am to review something that pertains to both technology and gaming, the best of both worlds. It is the oh, it turned off. It is the Elgato gaming capture card HD60. Now, first and foremost, Elgato means the cat in Spanish. How does that pertain to capturing video game footage? I don't know, but there you go. That's mainly what this capture card is used for. It is used to capture footage from your gaming console. Now this is the Elgato Game Capture HD60. It is programmed to capture some of the latest generation of consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and that's mainly what it's used for. But it also has various other features. Now, before we get to actually talking about the gaming capture card itself and the features that it came along with and how exactly do I feel about the capture card, will be saved for later, because what I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to turn this into a review unboxing hybrid. I'm going to go ahead and unbox the device itself and show you what's inside, all the cables, the components, that kind of thing. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and talk about the device and what it does and how exactly do I feel about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what exactly comes when you purchase the Elgato Gaming Capture Card HD60. Okay, so now the reason why I'm actually going to go ahead and fuse the unboxing of this along with the reviews, because the unboxing is not going to take up too much time. It's fairly simple, and to be honest, there's not that much inside the box that you really need to know about. All you need to know is that it has a rather neat cover with the little play symbol here that's embroidered, and we turn it to its side and we got a little bit of a, I believe it's the exact size of the Elgato there, and you'll see why in a second. It turns to its side, UPC code, blah blah blah, Elgato Gaming 60. Is that facing the right way? Yeah. Game Capture HD 60, same thing at the top there. And then we flip it on the back, and then basically we have a humongous list of, wait, over here. A humongous list of the features in various languages. You got English, Spanish, and French, I believe. Function, flashback. Actually, no, I think it's just French. Yeah, it's just French. Yeah, we Mexicans, we're screwed. If you can't read English, that sucks. But anyways, we got all the different features here, as well as all of the system requirements, the minimum requirements for both software and hardware. So be sure to look into that before making a purchase on this thing. If you feel like you're not sure if your laptop can run it, then make cross-reference and make sure. And even if you don't, then I'm pretty sure that, you know, if you buy it from a place like Best Buy, you'll be able to return it within 2 weeks or something like that. If it doesn't really work with your laptop, I'm pretty sure they'll understand. So anyways, let's go ahead and unbox it. I already went ahead and removed the cellophane. So all you really have to do is just take it from here on the side. It's like a little bit of a book. And when you do, you'll notice that they actually hollowed out the little logo there at the front, so that's kind of neat. So there you go. Then you got this little page that you can open up here at the, this is where your skills immortalized. And we open it up. And, okay, already a little bit of a design issue here. When you open up this page, it doesn't flex all the way. If you flex it, it's gonna bend badly, and I don't want to do that. It doesn't have a crease that folds all the way. It stops right about there, and then if you force it, you're gonna start seeing cracks here in the cardboard. So that's a big no-no. But anyways, you got the actual device here on the side, a lot smaller than I was anticipating. And what's kind of cool is that while it's in there, it doesn't fall out. I mean, if I shake it hard enough, it will, but... Oh. Okay, kids do not do that. But anyways, I was kind of fascinated by how I was moving the box around and it wouldn't fall out unless I did some really heavy shaking. But there you go, kind of neat. And there's really nothing holding it in. Yeah, there's no like little clip or nothing. It just sits there. It's like physics. Anyways, there's the actual device itself resting here at the top. And in here you also got some other little doodads. It actually tells you to go to this website to download the software that you're going to need in order to be able to capture footage and live stream it to Twitch, to YouTube, that kind of thing. Tells you to go directly there. And for further support, check out the Facebook page, the YouTube page, the Twitter page, all that fun stuff right here. And then here at the bottom, you'll notice that there's a little thing right here. You open it up, and inside you got yourself the the USB cable and the HDMI cable. Now the reason why these cables are still in their bags is actually because I already own these types of cables outside of the ones that came with this product. So I just use those. So in case I decide to change my mind and say, you know what, that's too much money for the gaming capture card, then I could simply just put it back in. They're still sealed up, and just leave the device itself in here. Close it back up. Close all this. Make sure it's put in properly, and I should be able to return it and get my money back. So I think that's rather cool. All I have to do is really put the cellophane back in. And actually, you know what? Before we put that in there, let's go ahead and take out the device, because finally, and also another neat thing is that when you do take out the device, you have a little bit of a diorama there. Well, not a diorama, but a little illustration to show you what each port means when you take the device out and when you map it. Basically, on this side, you got the HDMI out, and then over here, you have a brief one-word description of what each port does. So that's kind of neat. So anyways, let's go ahead and put the box back together. And now, let's go ahead and talk about the Elgato HD60 itself, shall we? Okay, so now that we got the actual HD60 out of the box, we can finally talk about it. So, it's smaller than I thought it would be. I actually thought it was going to be just a tad bit, just a little bit bigger, about the size of the this HD passport, this Western Digital, that's what I'm going to say, WD, not HD, but Western Digital passport hard drive that I have. It's a little bit bigger. It's about yay bigger. It kind of caps off right about there, so it's a little bit smaller than that. Obviously it comes in black, and I do know that there are actually two models of the similar device, only they have a couple of different features. One, which I will say is a little bit of a detrimental con for the HD60 here, but I'll get to that in a second. But there is a previous model called the Game Capture HD, and that's it. It doesn't have the 60 at the end. And it's a little bit more boxy, and from what I remember reading in the notes, it's a little bit bigger and it weighs a little bit more. This, it's rounded at the edges, so it looks like a little bit of a, like a pod, so to speak. And I can't comment about the weight. I mean, it's light, but I can't say whether or not it's heavier than I anticipated, or if it's heavier than the previous model, because I've never had anything to do with that model. But it's a nice little device, and it does have an LED light running across here. You can kind of see like the lining of it right there, and obviously it's not going to light up because it's not plugged into anything. But when you do plug it in, you see a white streak come across here at the top, and then when it recognizes the device, it lights up red, and I think that's rather cool. And also when you record something, it lights up red, letting you know that you are now recording, and that's pretty neat. You got ports on both sides. On one side, you only got the HDMI out, which connects to, I believe, the TV. This end connects to the HD TV that you're using. And then on this side, you got the similar port. Only this is considered the in HDMI port, which is where you plug in the actual console. And then to the sides, you got a port for an external microphone. And then on the other side of the HDMI port, you got a USB port to plug in that USB cable that you saw there, and that's where you connect to the laptop, and that's where you do all your streaming and capturing. With the the software that you actually have to download from the internet, because these days these kinds of devices almost don't even come with those CD-ROMs, and honestly, it's for certain people they're gonna like that because you can save up space. You don't have to worry about losing a disc or whatever. They just tell you, hey, go to this website, download the program from there, and now it's a digital software on your laptop instead of dealing with these CDs and then putting them in and then having to navigate through these windows and clicking on the exe file. So for some people it's going to be a bit more convenient, but for others, I'm kind of in the middle because there's other people who do prefer the CD to come in here so that they don't have to worry about going to a website or forgetting about going to that website, or dealing with an issue that did come with the HD60, which is the first of the two big issues that this device comes with. There's a few other nitpicks, but they're nothing they don't really compare to these two major problems that I do have with the HD60 that keeps it from being a great device. It's a really good device for capturing gaming footage, but one of the first issues that I do feel the need to mention here is that software that you do download from the internet does not come with any kind of tutorials to get you started. It doesn't hold your hand when you first boot it up, because any other kind of software would come with, if it's the disc, it comes with some kind of quick start guide, or if it's online, it comes with a little bit of a little thing that pops up on the side saying, if you want to figure out how to work this thing, here is a PDF file of the manual, or here is at least a link to some YouTube videos. This does have a link to some YouTube videos, but those videos aren't really that helpful. And right off the bat, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. The program opens up, and it's up to you to simply just figure out through trial and error how to work it. If you're very new with computers, you're going to feel quite lost. But if you're like me, who is able to recognize certain buttons and certain things and what they lead to and what they do when you click on them, then it's simply just a matter of exploring through the app. And I found myself figuring out what certain buttons did, and I managed to capture gaming footage myself from my PlayStation 4 just fine. But for the regular consumer, they're going to have a tough time figuring out what certain things do, because there's no kind of direct support. And trying to find it is a tour in and of itself. Now, I mentioned that there was an earlier version of this device that was called the Elgato HD gaming capture card, and that's it. There was no 60. And the reason for that is because of the humongous difference between this device and the previous model, and that is that this is able to record at 60 frames per second, hence HD60, whereas the previous version was only able to record up to 30 frames per second. And it still had it still retained the similar functions, except this one does come with certain functions that make things a little bit easier for those typical consumers, such as putting a webcam over the image or any kind of overlay, being able to hook up a microphone and be able to provide live commentary for your videos, so that you have the microphone, you're able to talk over it and have it sync up so you don't have to do it manually. However, that's just it. That's one of the few nitpicks, is that some of these features, you could work your way around them, and therefore you have an incentive to just buy the original version, which does cost a little less. It costs about, maybe, because this one goes for about, retail price is $180, I believe. I got it for $20 less at Best Buy through like a 2-day sale, but this thing usually retails for about $180. And the first model goes for about, I believe, $130 or $140 or something like that. And you save $40, and the only humongous trade-off that you're doing is that you're sacrificing that 60 frames per second, which is preferable for some people, but it's really up to you. However, you could figure out what you do get in those $40 for this are those features that make certain things a little bit easier. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can only do them with the Elgato 60. You could also figure out a way to capture the footage from the original Elgato Gaming Capture HD, and if you want to put in the work, like I'm kind of sort of planning on doing anyway, because I want to use this camera that I'm using to record this review to be able to put overlays over my gaming footage, so that you have a picture-in-picture type of thing going. you can find a way to work around those features if you're willing to put in the work, so you don't have to rely on the features that the HD60 provides for you. It's just that it makes it a little bit more convenient. And here is where we get to that second issue that really sets back the HD60 in some respect, because when you think about it, it's not going to matter, or at least it's going to become relevant as time goes on. And that huge issue is that the Elgato HD60 does not capture from the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 is kaput. You know, if you manage to buy the HD60, it captures from the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, obviously, captures from the Wii U. It even captures from the Xbox 360. And that's where things get confusing. It captures from the Xbox 360, but not from the PlayStation 3. I don't know why, but for some reason they had to sacrifice the PlayStation 3, probably to fit in the ability to capture 60 frames per second. That's the only reasoning that I can come up with. That previous model, you sacrifice the 60 frames, but you can capture PlayStation 3 along with the PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, and Wii U. So that's mainly the thing that you're swapping here. And I was kind of confused, because you're using the same cables, you're using HDMI, why can you not capture PS3? And I even tried it just to see if maybe it was a little bit of a ploy on the marketing teams doing, but no, users can't capture PS3 for some reason, and my only guess is that they had to get rid of that feature to be able to put 60 frames. Otherwise, as well as those bonus features with the HD gaming capture software that you get from the internet, where you're able to hook up a microphone and you're able to put in overlays through a webcam. Although you can't hook up an HD camera like the one that I'm using here to record this review. That's a humongous bummer that I really wish that they could have fixed. And I tried to figure out a way to link up a camera like this through a USB cable or something like that, but it only goes to webcams, and that's a little bit of a disappointment. But I would have loved to include footage of me actually playing some of the PS3 games that I'm playing right now. Like recently I played Assassin's Creed Revelations, and I recently beat it, so look out for a review on that. But I was hoping to include footage from that game, but I can't do that with the Elgato 60. However, the reason why I feel like this is going to become an irrelevant issue as time goes on is because we are dealing with PS3. I don't think even people are capturing the Xbox 360 with this thing. If they're buying this, they're buying to get footage, really crisp, high-definition footage from the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. And here's the thing, is that the only major advantage that you're getting with this, and another thing that kind of makes the HD60 a mixed bag, because, you know, it is becoming irrelevant to capture from the last generation of consoles, PS3 and Xbox 360, but at the same time, the Elgato itself lowers its relevancy by the fact that these newest generation of consoles, PS4 and Xbox One, have a built-in feature to be able to capture gaming footage already. The only real advantage that you're getting from purchasing this is the fact that you can capture footage, an unlimited amount of footage without any kind of restrictions. Of course, reliant on how much gigabytes of space you got on your laptop, but I don't really have to worry about that. I got a full terabyte, I believe, of HD space on my laptop, so that's not a humongous issue. Plus, I'm not necessarily planning on capturing hours and hours and hours of footage. You know, just maybe an hour or two for reviewing purposes, and maybe a few Let's Plays here and there. But I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking for filling up my entire hard drive on my laptop. But you do get to continuously record without any kind of interruptions, as long as you have a pristine laptop that meets the system requirements of this device. And the reason why I use that as an advantage is because the PS4, I don't know about the Xbox One, to be honest. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's on the same level, but I don't know for certain. What I do know is that the PS4 records up to 15 minutes of footage when you hit the share button. When you hit the share button, it records the last 15 minutes that you played, and if you double click the share button, it starts recording, and then it stops at about 15 minutes. And that's it. And the only way to continuously keep that going is to double press that button when you see the little thing that says video clip saved. You gotta double click that button in order to continuously record. And there's still gonna be that that cut where it'll skip maybe like a second or something like that, and then start recording again for another 15 minutes. And every 15 minutes, you're going to have to double click that. And of course, if you find yourself in a game where you're lost and invested in this world and you're playing for hours, you're going to forget. And you're going to miss something very important that you wanted to share with somebody, or you wanted to use that to drive a point across in a Let's Play or a review. You're going to miss it. So the biggest convenience that the Elgato provides for you is the ability to record an unlimited amount of minutes, of course, depending on how much space you got on your laptop. But it doesn't have that 15-minute cap that the PS4 has. And you won't have to deal with a shitload of files. Because obviously if you are double-clicking that and recording every 15 minutes and it cuts off at every 15 minutes and you record for like 2 or 3 hours, you're dealing with, what, 6 whole files, figuring out which one was what. Here, it's just one file. It's just one seamless file. And it automatically saves in this format called .ts. And that did not really work well. In fact, that it didn't work at all with Vegas. But fortunately, there is an option to save a backup file in MP4, and that did work with Vegas, so that was cool. But of course, let's talk about what we're mainly looking for in the Elgato, and that is pristine imagery, 1080p, 60 frames per second, and it does deliver on that. And the image looks beautiful, of course. And that's another thing, is that PlayStation 4, when you hit that share button, it does not record at 60 frames per second. It automatically goes to 30. So any game that you're playing at 60 frames, like Call of Duty, or I did a test with Injustice, which has segments that are at 30 frames per second, especially those cutscenes in the story mode, but the actual gameplay when you're fighting is at 60 frames. Whenever I would share footage and I would port it over to Vegas, it's always 30 frames. PS4 always records at 30 frames, and that's a little bit of a bummer. But with this, you do get the 60 FPS frame rate. Now, I know that for some people, that's not necessarily a deal breaker. People look at that and be like, okay, you know, big deal. It's the same issue that people have when it comes to the 1080p, 60 frames per second debate amongst actual games and how they run, and whether or not that should be sacrificed for gameplay or for graphical issues or that kind of thing. It's all a matter of preference. If you love having your footage at 60 frames per second, then definitely go with the HD60. And if you are fully aware that you're sacrificing the PS3 for those 60 frames, then go ahead and get it. And if you are willing to spend, you know, a good $160, $170 on this, and no cutoff at 15 minutes, and you're looking, basically, I recommend this for people who are looking to doing Let's Plays online on YouTube. If you're planning on doing reviews or Let's Plays like I'm doing myself, then sure, get the HD60. But if you're a typical consumer that is looking to getting a PlayStation 4 and wants to record footage, but you're not willing to do all this editing, you just want to share a quick 5-minute, 10-minute playthrough, that kind of thing, nothing that goes over 15 minutes, then just stick with the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. Just hit that share button and you're good to go. And let's keep in mind that if you're planning on getting a Wii U, like I might be, I've been thinking about it for so long, because the games that I want to play for the Wii U are really great games. Smash Brothers, Bayonetta 2, Super Mario 3D World. You got the upcoming Star Fox game that it might be coming by the end of the year, but I'm not entirely sure. And then we got Zelda that's coming out next year. But then again, there's also the theory that maybe the next Zelda game would also be cross-platform with the new NX, so maybe I should save up for the NX instead. I don't know, but if I do decide to get a Wii U, the Wii U, I don't believe, I might be wrong about this, but I don't believe the Wii U has a sharing functionality like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So this would come very much in handy. Or maybe not. Because then again, Nintendo, very stingy on those copyright claims, you know, so who knows. But anyways, if you are a hardcore gamer that's looking to developing a following on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, and wants to capture great footage and not have any kind of interruptions with that footage, then definitely pick up either the Elgato HD60, or if you want to swap the 60 frames for capturing from the PlayStation 3 and back up those classic PlayStation 3 games, then go with that older, cheaper model. But just know what you're getting yourself into when you make these kinds of purchases on these gamer cards, and how relevant or irrelevant they may become as we progress with the technology that they're bringing us with these new consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and then later on with VR headsets like Morpheus, Oculus Rift, all that kind of thing. just be in the know. So for that, I personally give the Elgato gaming capture card HD60 a solid 8 out of 10. It's a good capture card. It does a great job. The image is great, but it's not so much a matter of how well it works, but how relevant it truly is, because, you know, it's a thing of its time. That's all that I can say. So let me know what you guys thought of this little device. Would you be looking to play? It doesn't want to stand up. Come on, you can do it. There you go. The Elgato, the cat, Game Capture HD60. Let me know what you guys think. Would you be willing to make a purchase such as that? And if so, then use the link in the description below. It would really help. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.